Good afternoon and welcome to the Nuts and Boltz Show. I'm Don.
And I'm Sean.
And today, Sean, I'm excited because not only is spring not officially here, but it's close, and that means baseball. And we've brought back from the New York Sports Show, our friend, Dominick, to talk about baseball and the whatever's been going on in the baseball world up to date. Are you excited?
Yeah, definitely. I'm always excited to have Dominick on. He always knows his stuff as far as stats goes in baseball and really any sport that you talk to him about, he knows what he's talking about. So it's always a pleasure to have him on, and I'm excited for today's show.
He does, and I give him a lot of credit. He's a pretty young, but he is a master. I don't know if you want to, well, we'll call him a master at his craft. Yeah. And we have a surprise for Dominick, but we'll wait. We'll get him on, and then we'll talk about that.
All righty. We'll bring him on now. Hey, Dominick, pleasure to have you on. How are you?
Hello, I'm good. Very happy to be back on. How are you guys doing?
We're doing pretty well.
We're not doing as good as you, though, because you've got a fantastic studio.
Yeah, you do. Nice TV, laptop. I like it.
This is your third appearance on the Nuts and Boltz Show with Don and Sean. And one was for the Jets rant. The next one was for the Super Bowl predictions. And now my favorite sport, really, I mean, I love football, love hockey, but baseball to me, something inside of me just gets so excited whenever baseball comes around. And here we have again, you, and there's no one better than you to have on when we're talking sports. And I'm excited. But Dominick, Sean and I have been talking, and the more you've been on, the more we have paid attention to your show, the more we really like and respect what you're doing. And Sean and I put together a little bit of a surprise for you. Number one, when we first met and did a show, you were right around 350 subscribers. And since then, really, if you think about it, in a short amount of time, you've taken off, and you've recently surpassed the 1,000 subscriber mark. First of all, before the little surprise that we have for you, go ahead and just speak on that for a quick minute.
Yeah, definitely. Well, first, thank you guys for having me back on. I truly love just being on. What you guys are doing is just great, and it's just a matter of time until you guys hit and surpass 1,000 and 10,000. This show is just absolutely amazing. And folks, if you're watching this and not subscribed, what are you doing? You got to subscribe. This is one of the best shows here on YouTube. Now, with that said, hitting 1,000 is just truly amazing. I love what I do. I work so hard. I'm up sometimes at 2 o'clock in the morning brainstorming ideas or just working on graphics. I just put so much into it. And to see that now over 1,000 people just like what I do, it means so much to me, and I'm truly thankful for I thank God for giving me this opportunity, and I just thank everyone who supports me.
Absolutely. So why don't you do us a favor, Dominick? Just sit back, relax, and enjoy this little video.
Hello and welcome to the New York Sports Show. Let's get right into this. I hate the Mets. I despise them. The Knicks take... Oh my God! I can't believe this. Oh my God. Number 5, whenever the New York Jets win, it is like Christmas. It is like your birthday party because you're getting something that you would not expect to get.
You guys do see.
Buffalo has Stephon Diggs, one of the best wide receivers, and we don't really have anything about wide receiver. But no, we got good OT though. We got good OT. Sam Darnold can't make any completions, but that's okay. We got good OT though. But you know what? Ann Boone has to be the worst and has to be the dumbest manager in the history of baseball. You can't tell me he's not. He overmanages the team, or just underperforms in everything. Here we are at 500.
Well, folks, we did it. 1,000 subscribers. I never thought this would be possible. And I know that's what everyone says when they hit 1,000, but honestly, the outreach that the New York Sports Show has gotten is just absolutely mind-blowing, and I truly love you all, and I cannot thank you guys enough. You know, I'm taken back by that. One of the best compilations I have ever seen. I absolutely love it. In over 1,000 videos posted on the New York Sports Show, you guys got some of the most memorable and just some of the most funniest I've ever done. And I think it's good. You can see the change. You know, first video I ever posted, I was 13. Now I'm 16. Just the change of the background and everything. You know, it's great that you guys got to see that as well. And I have a mini funny story with the 1,000 subscriber video. So before I hit 1,000 subscribers, I was at like 990. I decided to go get a haircut, you know, because it was just a matter of time. I go to to my barber shop. The barber I've had for the last 3 years, he moved to Florida out of nowhere. So I'm like, okay. So this guy is filling in. He said, hey, it's only my second day. I could do it for you. I'm like, okay. He almost made me bald.
That a similar situation happened to me, and he was a heroin addict, but he did a very good job.
That's crazy.
I know.
Well, congratulations to you, Dominic, and keep up the good work.
Thank you.
And you know what? Let's get into some sports. Your wheelhouse, Sean.
Heck yeah. Talk to us about the off-season winners and losers. So you can break down a top team if you want, as far as signings, trades, whatever you want to bring about. But what teams do you think did a very good job in the off-season?
Yeah, I'm going to start in the National League. I think everyone could agree with me on this one. The Padres. The San Diego Padres made some of the biggest signings in MLB history during this offseason, getting just a handful of just talented, expensive players. I never thought I would say this in my life, but the Padres may be a World Series winning team here in this 2021 MLB season. They're going to give the Dodgers a run for their money 100%, and I think that that's going to be so interesting. I'm going to love how many bandwagon fans, though, are going to come over. All of a sudden, you're going to see a million Padres fans. You know, the Padres have some of the worst attendance. Once this whole Corona thing is over, it's going to be sold out, a sold-out stadium every game. I think that's going to be hilarious. I think the biggest signing they made is, of course, Blake Snell, former Tampa Bay Rays pitcher. That is huge right there on so many levels. Pitching means everything. And here they are with a very solid pitching rotation. And you also got to remember, they have Manny Machado. Yes, Manny Machado is overrated, but he had one of the best seasons in 2020. Yes, it was a shortened 60-game season, but he was one of the biggest standout players. And recently in ESPN's 25 player rankings, Manny Machado was inside that top 25. So with that, going on to the AL. Now, I'm not being biased here because of my Jersey folks, but the Yankees. I feel like the Yankees made a lot of good signings. You know, of course, James Italian coming over. That was a mini trade. I wouldn't say a blockbuster trade. He's coming off of his second Tommy John. When you look at it, the Yankees have so many former or active Tommy John players on their roster, which is, I think, a bad idea. But although James Italian, he's a great pitcher, and I think having former teammate Garrett Cole alongside with him, that's going to just be great. And then, of course, Darren O'Day, the most weirdest but coolest windup I've ever seen, who got A-Rod wondering how the hell he threw those pitches. He's on the Yankees now. I think that's great. Corey Kluber, kind of shaky, to be honest. Did not throw that many pitches last season, got injured, and last out in spring training wasn't that great. But overall, though, I feel like the Yankees made a lot of solid signings. They have a World Series winning roster, but the biggest question is, could they finally get that big W.
Mm. Yeah, that's pretty interesting. Do you have who, if at all, is there a team that just blew it during the offseason?
You know, it's hard to say. I would go with the Miami Marlins. You know, they had a solid 2020. They did not really make any moves, which I'm surprised by. You would think that they would want to build strongly off of that 2020 season, unless they think the roster that they have right now is capable on going in the playoffs. You can't really go by what happened in a 60-game season, but I think that's what they're doing, is going by how they did last season. Overall, the Marlins don't have that big of a cap space, but they should have made a few more moves with bigger name players.
Mm. You're partial to the Yankees. I'm partial to the Mets, but we'll get into the Mets in a little bit. You and I, we talk through email and now through text, and we were talking about baseball integrity and cheating. And obviously the biggest story a couple of years ago was the Houston Astros, and you wanted to touch on this topic, and it's an ugly topic. You don't want that in any sport. But go ahead, I'll give you the floor.
Yeah, of course, Astros famous as of recently for cheating. Did they fully win the World Series via cheating? That's kind of up for debate. But overall, though, cheating in baseball, it's obvious. You know, of course, you have the steroid era. Now, as of recently, the trash can era. But cheating goes for all the teams. You know, there's rumors of the Yankees cheating. I feel like every team cheats in at least some way. And I understand why. You know, of course, you want to be victorious at the end of the day or at the end of the night. But cheating, I feel like the MLB should put the harshest rules on cheating, no matter what it is. Sign stealing or using pine tar, whatever. The MLB has to crack down on this. A lot of rumors going around with the Astros, mainly, especially as of recently, but pitchers like Garrett Cole and Justin Verlander cheating, which of course has them sign bigger contracts because it makes them look better when they're on the field. And I feel like that plays a big part too. Players cheat for their own personal gain, of course, to make more money, because now money's everything, no matter where you go. The MLB should do lengthier suspensions or bans. You know, I'm not one to see a guy get in trouble, but it's baseball. You go out there, you have fun. There's no reason to cheat. You know, if you gotta cheat to make you play better overall, you're not that good of a player, you know?
Right. So, Dominic, are there, before we get to Sean's next question, are there any big-time players right now that will start the season on suspension for any issues that you know of?
I'm being honest, none that I fully know of. I know the biggest one, though, as of recently, of course, Robinson Cano caught cheating again for performance-enhancing drugs. Now, that guy, I love Robinson Cano, but he's been caught so many times, he should be banned. And then you have a guy like Pete Rose who gets banned for betting. And yes, that's a horrible thing. But when you look at what other players have done, it really, the MLB, I feel like they take favorites on who gets banned, who gets suspended, who gets a lengthy, big, long fine. It's hard to say. I feel like the better a player is, the less in trouble they'll get, like the more famous they are. I mean,
right.
Jose Altuve, he was the biggest guy in the whole Astros cheating scandal. And it seems like he got slapped on the waist. Many could say that he stole the MVP away from Aaron Judge. I'm not going to get too much into that, because who knows? That's why going back to what I just said, it's so hard to see a player's true potential when they're cheating on the field, and that affects, of course, contracts and salary and just what the team could do overall, because of course more money they're spending on one guy, they won't be able to get other player that could actually benefit the team, who's walking out there doing as much as he could day in and day out to perform, and then he's being left out as an unsigned free agent, as a guy who cheats 24/7, gets a roster spot and $30 million more.
Right. Absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more on that topic, really. All right. So I had mentioned that I'm an avid Mets fan. I know you're a Yankees fan. And all of our viewers, most of them anyway, probably root between the two teams. So, Dominic, why don't you break them down and who will have the better season?
I feel like the Mets and Yankees are both going to have very similar seasons. Both teams were pretty active in free agency. I feel like the Mets made slightly bigger moves, though, than the Yankees. So I'm going to start off with the New York Mets. Of course, they acquired Lindor, which is a huge thing. And then they also have Kevin Pillar now, who's he's a solid player. I wouldn't say MVP caliber, all-star caliber, nothing like that, but he's a solid player that could get hits very fast, good at stealing bases, and he's a solid at catching the ball, which is always the big thing defensively. Now, you also got to remember, New York Mets, you guys got Jacob deGrom, one of the best pitchers ever in Mets history and most recently in MLB history. 2-time Cy Young winner, should have went and have been a 3-time Cy Young winner. And that's coming from a Yankee fan, folks. That's just how good deGrom is. You guys also have Noah Syndergaard, who just had a major operation, that being Tommy John. Hard to say exactly on how he will be. I feel like he's pretty solid. You can also say the same with the Yankees, Luis Severino. Now, overall, Mets, I feel like they will get a wild card spot. I think when I did my prediction video on the whole season, about a month ago, I had the Mets winning around 94 games, and I feel like that's pretty accurate. They just got to stay healthy. Of course, Steve Cohen taking over the Mets. He's done a very good job so far. No complaints on that. Mets front office has just done a solid job in acquiring players. The money's definitely there. I feel like when the trade deadline comes closer, there will be some big blockbuster trades that the Mets will make, and eventually they may be one of the biggest threats in the National League. Team of New York, that they have a lot of room for improvement until they become the baseball team of New York. Now, Yankees, injuries. The injuries cannot come for the Yankees. It's been next man up for how long now? It's unbelievable. You know, we've seen more minor league players, I guess you could say, on the field than we actually do stars. Aaron Judge, he's a great player. We've seen him when he's healthy. He's a marvelous player, MVP caliber. And then you have Giancarlo Stanton, who has a ridiculous contract that is essentially a bench warmer and can't even get through a half of a season when he's it's unbelievable how much money we're giving the guy. We can't even trade him away because no one wants that big contract. And now you have Aaron Boone. You have Joe Girardi. You get rid of Joe Girardi and bring in Aaron Boone. He was a great Yankees player. You cannot deny that. Yankees manager, he sucks. He sucks. He makes pitching changes at the worst time possible. The Yankees are a World Series team, and he does nothing that could bring them to the World Series. If Joe Girardi stayed the Yankees manager, we would have won back-to-back World Series. I guarantee you back-to-back World Series. Aaron Boone just stands there. I remember one game, he was up having lunch, I think it was, with the Yankee owners while the bench coach was there managing the game. You can't do that. And it was a big game too. You can't do that. It always seems like there's a big stretch of the Yankees struggle and they end up getting like 12 losses just in a big pile. And Aaron Boone does nothing about it. Off of corn trends, you can see that Chapman is not the best pitching in the playoffs. What does Aaron Boone do? Last 2 seasons, he puts Chapman in a big playoff situation. Bada bing, bada boom, we lose the game. It's unbelievable. It really is unbelievable. I love the Yankees. Always been a Yankees fan. Went to the old stadium before it was demolished. Went to the new stadium not that long ago. Aaron Judge stole a home run from me on live TV. Got on the MLB highlights. Yankees have a perfect team. They have a one-in-a-generation team.
So the AL and the NL's best. And who do you think has the best chance to win it all?
So starting off with the NL, I would say the Dodgers, defending champions. They over the past few years, they've had a great roster. Really, I would not be surprised if they make it to the World Series. Like I said, though, Padres going to give the Dodgers a run for their money with the coronavirus and everything. Players having to quarantine and teams having to quarantine, that could play a big effect as well. But I think you'll be the Dodgers for the NL going, and then for the AL, the Yankees have a World Series winning team. I've said that, though, like the past 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
They keep blowing it. I feel like it's either going to be the Yankees or the Oakland Athletics.
Alrighty, Dominic. So some very good insight on that. And do you have any closing remarks?
Yeah, thank you guys for just having me on. I absolutely love coming on. You two are up and coming stars, and I love seeing how much the channel has grown from my first time being on to now. It makes me so happy. The Nutz&Boltz show is going to be one of the top shows here on YouTube. Folks, you gotta subscribe if you're not, and you gotta tell your friends and family about this show. It's a great show.
Well, Dominic, we really do appreciate that. And we hope you're right. We hope we do grow along with you. You've grown pretty significantly. So talk to us for a little bit about your YouTube channel. How can people get in contact with you?
And well, the New York Sports Show is here on YouTube. We also have a fully functioning website where we post pretty often, and we have our own app. Overall, though, more active on YouTube, over 1,000 videos on YouTube. We average about 2 videos a day when you go look at it. That is just crazy when you think about it. We like to keep our videos around 2 or 3 minutes. We provide short and sweet just talks, I guess you could say. We do game previews, game recaps, trade talks, rumors, you name it, we talk about it. Every major New York sports team there is, we cover, and we also talk all about NASCAR and Formula One and just other forms of racing. But no matter what sport you're into, folks, the New York Sports Show is the place to be.
I would agree with that, definitely.
So on behalf of Sean and myself and the Nutz&Boltz show, Dominic, again, we want to thank you for coming on and giving us some great insight. And obviously, you are somebody who will be back on again with anything significant going on in the world of sports. But for Don and Sean, thank you. And Sean, your closing.
See ya.
Later.
And that was a presentation of the Nutz&Boltz show.
Thanks for watching, guys. The Nutz&Boltz show is on YouTube at The Nutz&Boltz Show, Twitter at The NutsB, Facebook at The Nutz&Boltz, and you can listen to us on Spotify at The Nutz&Boltz Show. Make sure to like, follow, and subscribe.